Good morning, listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success using various internet marketing techniques and methods. Now, what I do with this show is I have like two different formats, and each week it varies. But one format is I will bring on subject matter experts who have already been there and done that, and they will help navigate other entrepreneurs and business owners through the perils of being a business owner and entrepreneur by listening to what they went through and how they achieved success and how they worked through those events. And the second thing is, whether I have a guest or not, I will then just give away some tips, free how-tos, things that you actually need to, again, achieve even greater success. So you're hearing a theme here. So today we're lucky enough to have we're going to have a guest in the first section, and then in the second section, roughly around 11:30, 11:35, we'll have a tips where I'll just teach you some stuff, give you some ideas on how you can achieve even greater success. But with us right now, we have Richard Gordon, the founder and owner of CEO Dojo, who brings 40 years of martial art expertise into his everyday way of life. His passion to teach others about how to lead yourself to succeed in business and your personal life will help you achieve your ultimate goals. This process includes day-to-day success methodologies that are inclusive of leadership skills, confidence, self-control, and awareness. And he will have you excited, energized, and ready to pass his tried and true knowledge onto your team. His love for excellence and high-energy speaking will have you standing up on your feet and cheering. He is known to break a board or two on stage, and yes, including the audience as well. Richard will enable you with intuitive skills in both the boardroom as well as your day-to-day life, gaining more confidence in all areas. He has spent many hours mentoring and guiding children and young adults in leading themselves to success. If you are ready to expand your body, mind, and spirit, you can contact Richard E. Gordon for your next event or set up a conversation. But you're lucky enough to have him with us for at least a half hour today. Richard, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent, excellent. And where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from a little overcast San Diego today. It's usually sunny and beautiful, but we got a little overcast, but still beautiful 70 degrees, so I love it.
I love it. But I've been in San Diego many times, and I love it there as well, except these earthquakes make me nervous. But we know that come 11 or 12 o'clock, that little overcast will be gone, and it will be all sunny.
Absolutely. It's like a lesson in life. You got to wait out the storm, and then the sun will shine.
That's right. On the other side of every storm or cloud, there is a rainbow or something, right?
Correct.
Excellent. That bio was, it's pretty extensive, and I've known you for, a couple of years now. I've been blessed to speak with you on stages across the country, and you speak on the leadership skills and things you're going to talk about today. I speak on internet marketing and business solutions, and it was just a natural fit to bring you on and to talk to our guests, our listeners rather, and most of our listeners are either business owners, entrepreneurs, they're in the marketing space for a company, or they want to. They're trying to get out of that and move on into their own company. So with that backdrop in mind, can you just give us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. Like you say, I've been in the leadership space. I was a leader in the Marine Corps, a leader in the global security, physical security space, and also in the martial arts world for over 40 years. And what I've learned over teaching people in all of these forums and coaching them and guiding them is that the biggest battles we fight are internally. We fight inside lack of self-confidence, lack of discipline. And those are the things that get in the way of our success in our personal life and our business. So there's lots of parallels. And a lot of times people try to separate them, but we're all in one. And that's where we are most successful, once we are in harmony with personal life and business life. So what I do is try to work with people to understand that we're a constant conflict. Why are people not happy? Because internally they might be doing something they don't want to do, or they're marketing in a way that's not working. And it's not working because, unfortunately, a lot of times we do what the norm, the trend is, or we do what someone told us. And when I first started in the martial arts business, it was very much an Asian martial arts, as everybody remembers, back in the 70s. And so people would look at me and say, you have to advertise this way. And I'm like, well, that doesn't work for me because I'm not from Korea. I'm not from China. I'm not from Japan. So what has worked in the past is not going to work for this American white boy from Brooklyn. So I had to find my own path. So I began the philosophy of be you for you. And that's what I've come to look at and to teach in my own life, and then to look at other people and say, how can I help this person be successful? Not based on my formula and not based on your formula. And you know that because there's lots of formulas, and it's not a one-size-fits-all like people tend to think. Okay, here's the map, have a business plan, map out your goals, and you'll be successful. And that's accurate to a certain degree. But then you have to customize it. It has to be you for you. What is your plan in business? How does it highlight your skills? And I know you do that very well to work individually with your customers as well.
Yeah, that's excellent. And what are some of the... I agree with all that. And first and foremost, thank you so much for your service. So
you're welcome.
Yep, and you do break boards on stage. I've seen you do that.
Yeah, that always seems to be the highlight. People, and that's a certain thing. Certain things people enjoy, and certain things have that impact on the crowd, and you do it. And it's natural for me, so it works. So it's not I borrowed it, or I took it, or I'm using something that someone works for someone else. It works for me, and the crowd likes it. So that's why I stick with it all through the years.
I love it, because in most marketing, to be successful, you have to have the hook, story, offer. You know what I mean? So you definitely have the hook with that.
Absolutely.
That gets people's attention. So that's excellent. Now, if somebody was, let's say that somebody is, we have 3 levels of people. One person is just starting out in business. Another person has been in business, let's say, a year to 18 months, and they're just over broke. They're starting to turn a profit. And then maybe you have somebody who's been in business for 3 years. They're having success, but they hit that plateau. Can you give us 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 tips for each level? And it's possible that one of those tips could cover all the levels.
Oh, absolutely. Great question. And that's, everybody's always going to be in a flux. And so you need to be able to hit all of the different levels. And some are commonalities. And so I look at the beginner, and like we say, it's the goal. So always start out with your goal in mind. And keep in mind the flexibility that it's going to change how you get there. I use the example, be like water. Great Bruce Lee had put that out there, and there's a lot of teachings on it. So I embrace that because it's very accurate to the business, especially the level. And so be like water. Water starts up in the mountains, and it's very quick, flowing towards its goal. It's got one goal in mind. It's flowing down that mountain at a rapid speed, and it's very narrow. Then it gets a little midland, so this is the same level of the business. It gets a little midland, and then it starts getting wider because there's more obstacles, and it slows down. And then when it gets towards the end, it starts branching out to lots of different areas because it's just focusing on getting towards that goal. So it's the same thing with the business philosophy. You start out with your goal and then keep moving towards it. And the same thing at the mid-level, reevaluate your goal and say, okay, are our goals the same? Because sometimes they might change completely. You might start out focusing on one arena, maybe it's kids, maybe it's adults, maybe it's global, and then you realize that you have to change in order to get to the next level. And then the same thing, that businesses that are being successful, you have to sit down again and say, okay, we have been successful over these past 3 years. Is this going to take us to the next 3 years? Or are trends changing? Or are things going to change for us in our market? And we've seen lots of businesses like that. And again, unfortunately, one of my favorite stores in the world, Toys R Us, didn't follow that pattern. They didn't change their goals to look at the modern times. They didn't compete online. And we all know, we all scratch our heads saying, if Toys R Us jumped online, everybody would have followed them and been a loyal customer, and they could have killed the market. But unfortunately, they didn't change their goal. They stuck with an old goal that worked to get them to that point. So collectively in the businesses, each level has to evaluate their goal. And it's the same thing in life. You have to take stock. What got me here? Is this what's going to get me to the next level? And then using technology, especially in our business and your business, technology is a lot different than a year ago, 2 years ago. Even Facebook is changing consistently. So you have to evaluate, how is it going to serve my business today as a startup? How is it going to serve my business now after a year? And then how is it going to serve my business after I've been established? You're in a different market, a different arena, a different audience. So those are just a couple.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, if you don't, one of the things that me and one of my mentors, we talk about frequently is that if you don't make your own products and services obsolete, somebody else will. Meaning you have to constantly be innovative. And if you're not, and you're in that status quo, and you think that what got you here or what you're doing now or today is going to keep you moving forward and continuing with your success, you're wrong. The world's changing fast, so you need to be innovative. And in whatever product or service or solution you have, you need to make that obsolete or somebody else will.
Absolutely. And so that's my advice to people right away, to say, hey, you got to take stock. You got to sit down and have evaluations. And then the other tip, again, so I like to look at it across the board, and then each one has a different input they'll get, is to seek counsel. You need to, if you're a small startup, seek counsel for people that you know and you trust. And then as you become more successful, then you need to get an official counsel. And as you grow and you become bigger and you have more finances, you need to get that board of directors, or you need to get a counsel that meets regularly to give you exact advice, because that goes back to the first step. You and your business, and we've all been there, when you're grinding, all you see is your business. You just see what's in front of you. You don't see the bigger picture, because you become emotionally involved. As much as we try not to, it becomes our baby. We put our blood, our sweat, our thoughts, our concepts, and especially when you start hiring people, then you have their families and their lives in your hand, and you lose your objectives. As much as we try not to, we do along the way. So you need to, in the beginning, get some sort of, people that can help you. If you have people in your family that have run a business that are willing to help you without having to make the investment. But as time goes, you need to invest in that. You need to have counsel. You need to have people that understand the business, and even from different businesses. This quick little story on that. When I was running my martial arts school, initially I became really successful really quick. Hard work, luck, all the magic formulas. You always got to put luck in there, so people try to dismiss that. But a lot of luck. So anyway, so I'm immersed in my business, and life is good. And my mother calls me up, who didn't have any business experience, but she had the Brooklyn mother life experience. So she calls me up and she says, how are you doing? I said, I am awesome. I said, my world is great. My martial arts school is thriving. And she said, you know what? She said, you're the king of that martial arts world. And I said, I am. She said, you realize that's a very small dojo you have there? And I said, yes. She said, so you realize you're the king of a very small little world? And again, it hit me like a rock in the head. I said, Mom, you're absolutely right. I've been focusing all my efforts on being the king of this little world. And I was loving it. But you can't do that. And then I began to take my own advice and seek counsel outside myself.
I love it. And that's some of our mentors like Greg Reed and some other people. They talk about seeking counsel, not opinion. And I love how you touched on that, because that's huge. You wouldn't take financial advice from your broke brother-in-law. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So there's a difference between seeking counsel and not opinion. If you tell somebody you want to write a book, and then they have not written a book, they've never wanted to write a book, they never even tried, they might be like, well, why do you want to write a book? That's stupid. What are you going to do with that? You know what I mean? So talk to somebody who's already written a book, and you'll find, right, that people who are successful, they're very approachable. And if you're coming at them with sincerity and authenticity, they'll talk to you. I mean, chances, some might want to charge you, but the vast majority won't.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the key other thing, and this I take to, again, everything I parallel between the personal life and the business life, is asking the right questions. And that is very crucial, because a lot of times in life and business, we don't ask the questions. And like you said, we don't seek the people to ask the questions to. So one, you have to formulate the question. What is it you need in your business, and what do you want? We hear that often, and you do as well do that, because I know you're a kind-hearted man. You say, how can I help you? And people will often say, unfortunately, I don't know. I'm not sure right now, or I'm good. And we chuckle at a level, because you're never good. If anybody asks me any time what advice I need, I tell them that maybe it's just pray for me. Whatever it might be, I'm going to ask the question of, say, can you introduce me to someone? Can you help me with a little bit of insight? And like you said, and then people get afraid because they think, oh, it's going to cost me a lot of money. And yes, there are services involved. You provide a service, I provide a service. But if someone at a conference that, invite, especially an invited kind of conference, if they ask me a specific question, I will give them a specific answer. Or I will direct them to someone like, hey, could you help me, flip houses? Not my thing, but you and I both know lots of people that have knowledge to flip houses, and they wouldn't mind giving someone a 5-minute, kind of overview. So it's asking the questions, knowing what you want, knowing what you need, asking the questions, and then more importantly, finding the person to ask that question. Because like you said, asking your grandmother who, never worked in a business or never wrote a book, she might give you loving advice, but she's not going to give you the advice you need to grow your business to the next level. And again, that goes from the beginning, middle, and the business that's more advanced. And especially when you become more advanced, you have to have more specific questions because we don't know what you need in your business. Unless we have a parallel business, occasionally you do. Like I know what a martial arts school needs if I walk in. But in the average person I meet at a conference or a seminar, I don't right away until I talk to them know what they might need. So they need to tell me. So key is to be able to ask the right questions. This is what I need help on Facebook. I need help on ads. I need help on getting articles in a magazine, whatever it might be for your business. And that's a key thing, to formulate those questions in your mind and then go about finding the person who can answer them, because you can't answer them all yourself. We try, especially entrepreneurs. We're all alpha types, and we can do it alone, and we're going to be the accountant and the marketer and the juggler and the singer, and we're going to dance, and then we try to do all of that ourselves, and it's never going to work.
Yeah, and I love that. And one of the main things I talk to my clients about is they have to learn it, do it, and delegate it. Learn what it is you need to get done or what you need to achieve that success, and then learn it, do it just enough so you understand it. Not that you're fluent in it, but just so people can't take advantage of you, so you know what the process is, the time, so someone's not telling you it's 30 hours and charging you for that when it's 3. So, learn it, do it, but you have to delegate it. You have to stay in your genius zone. Whatever it is, whatever your space is that you are best in, you need to stay there. Because let's say it's marketing. Let's say you want to pay somebody $500 to do Facebook ads or SEO or something a month, right? But you're selling a coaching course, and that coaching course is, let's say, $5,000 for the year. It's kind of low, but let's just say it's $5,000 for the year. Now, if the 10 hours, the 15, 20 hours a month that you're paying that person for that $500, you could probably talk, let's say it's 20 hours, you could probably talk to 40 people. Let's say each call was 30 minutes. That's a long call. And if you can't close 2 people out of 40, then we need to have another conversation, right? So that's so that's 10 grand. So did you spend 5 or did you make 9,500? And the person doing your marketing or your Facebook ads or whatever it is, they're better at it. So whatever you're going to get better results from their efforts than if you did it. But more importantly, it's that loss of revenue, that loss of opportunity. And I loved how you talked about asking people the right questions and getting next to people. People have to really, I believe, get out of their comfort zones, and it's not just the local free networking events. I think at least quarterly you have to go regionally. At least once a month, rather, go regionally, and at least quarterly. At least every 3 or 4 months. Go on to like you see me. I have no problem. I'll go to events in California. I'll go to events in Florida. I'll go to events. I'm going to an event at the end of this month in Chicago, the Ultimate Wealth Camp. And last month I went to one in Las Vegas. So I have no problem with that. But that's how you're going to meet more people and get connected with more people. You have to put yourself in the room with these people. How else are you going to meet them to ask them those questions?
Yeah, absolutely right about that. And the other thing I counsel with people about, and again, like I said, everything covers all 3 levels because they're kind of, your business will follow the same life to a certain degree. Is when you go out to these networking events is to, like you're saying as well, more specifically, go outside your comfort zone. If you're in construction and you run a construction company, don't only talk to construction people. That baffles my mind, especially when we have clients that go out and say they're in construction and they're in the corner talking to the construction guy in Chicago that they know from Florida. And I'm thinking, wow, what a waste of time, money, and effort. Because you need to be here talking to other people, and then also talk to people outside your field. I talk to, like you, we talk to anybody. And it doesn't mean that everybody is going to be my customer. I'm trying to sell everybody. It's about relationships. So I talk to people that do real estate. I talk to people that do marketing. I talk to people that do yoga. I talk to people that are photographers. And I talk to these people to develop a relationship. And then that provides me connections to other people. And then when the question comes up, what do you need? I need clients that I can help take their business to the next level. Guess what? The photographer kind of knows a few people. So he's very good to say, hey, I got an up-and-coming business I just took headshots for. You two should meet. So I always look at my clients and say, don't limit your scope. And like you say, a lot has to do with comfort zone as well, because they're comfortable talking about their profession and their job and their skill set, and they know someone from home. But to me, I'm like you. We get out, and I love going in that zone where truly someone tells me something. I say, I know absolutely nothing about what you're doing. I have a woman that plays the bowls, right? We're familiar with that. It's like the therapeutic bowls. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of had a vague concept, but I never saw anyone do it. I never knew anyone that did. I was like a little kid. I was fascinated. I'm like, wow, explain that to me. How did you get into it? Like, what is it? Who are your clients? Where do you go? And it opened my mind to a whole different level of thinking. And again, a personal connection. And then she knows a lot of people. She does a lot of corporate work. And so we're actually, it turns out we have more in common with people than we think.
I love it. And that, to me, that return on relationship. I always try to talk to people, especially if they're getting into networking or going to places. Don't go to an event trying to sell your services. Go there. If you find somebody and they need your stuff, that's great. But you focus on not ROI, focus on ROR, and you will make 10 times more money. Provide value first, be a resource, and you're obviously going to have some people who, maybe 5 or 10% who are just knuckleheads and they just want to drain you for info, right? But the vast majority of people are good and they want to grow. And if they ask you a question and you give them a valuable answer, over time you're building a rapport and a relationship with them, right? And even if they don't need your service, somebody they know does or will, and then they'll just refer you. And so that's priceless. We have about another 7 to 8 minutes left for you. And what I'd like to ask you is I want you to just, give your contact info. And I want to let everybody know that if you are unable to write down any gems of information you got or the contact information that Richard E. Gordon's about to give you, this episode, as all episodes, are archived on both WCAP 980 AM's website and Ronald Couming on my website, rcsonlinesolutions.com. So you can just go back and listen to this episode on either of those locations and also on my YouTube channel, Ronald Couming. So I have like 500 videos up there. So Richard, if you could just talk for like a few minutes, something that you want to impart on the people. But first, let's get your contact info, how people can contact you. Tell us what you want to tell us, and then give us your contact info again, please.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. So you can reach me on Facebook is Richard E. Gordon, and you can also reach me on Instagram at Richard E. Gordon 3. Those are perfect ways to contact me. My phone number is listed on there. And if you contact me and mention this radio station, I will go ahead and get on a phone call with you for 20 minutes and give you a personal assessment and work with you. And if we can work together, great. Or, as always, if there's someone else I can refer you to, I'm more than happy to do that. So mention this show, and I will give you that 20 minutes where we can get to know each other and usually see how we can help each other, because it doesn't go only one way. It goes both ways. And so what I like to leave you with is, like I said, be you for you. I've been working with people and teaching people and getting them over obstacles and hurdles in personal life and business, and I see that it always comes down to that factor, because people are not taught to be individual to themselves and to be happy. What I mean is they go to high school, we're told to go to college and get a good job. We're told we go to high school, get a trade, and get into the trade or get into business. And when we do that, we're supposed to be happy. And we're also told to get married and have kids. And then we do that, then it's not always what makes us happy, because we're following a pattern that society has said, our family has said, our peers have said. Society says this is the ingredients that would make you happy. And so it doesn't mean that formula is not going to make you happy, but it comes down to sometimes there's influence in what college you go to. You go to your family alumni. You go to the one that's close to your house, the one that's affordable. So all of those are good, but somewhere along the way we have to stop and, again, stop the questions. Ask yourself the question, what makes me happy? And most people don't ever take a minute to do that because, especially if you're a man, you're a provider, you're providing a good living for your family, then you think, I should be happy. In the female perspective, she's successful in a career, she's successful at raising her home, she's got it all in people's opinion. You got it made. But is she happy? And that's the question I work with people on. What is it going to make you happy? And sometimes it's not a major flip. And the simple example, I had one friend who was a real estate agent, and he took him on as a client. He's not happy. He's killing it, making big money. The market was great. But guess what? He's not home with his family, 3 kids, gone on the weekends, gone at night, doesn't eat with the family, doesn't see the family, kisses the kids in the morning when they're asleep. So we came to the fact that that's what's going to make him happy. So he changed careers. He went to law school, and he became a closing attorney. He worked 8 to 5, off on weekends. He was also now finally asked the question, what's going to make him happy? And we made it happen.
Nice. You still there, Richard?
I'm here. So, yeah, so the be you for you is the concept. Just ask yourself, am I happy? And I think a lot of times people, when they, especially if they're successful in business and in life, they think, I have no right to not be happy, or I have no right to be unhappy, or I can't complain. And then that's where a coach comes in to help you, because the outside people can see what tweaks might help you.
Excellent. And I think that's beautiful, because at the end of the day, you're right. We grow up thinking what we're told. We're supposed to, go to school, get a car, 2.2 children, and get a house, get a career, and then, you wonder why 70-80% of the people are, broke by the time they're 65. I mean, it's just such a cycle that has not shown any level of success. So why in the world do you want to repeat it? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. But again, it has to do with, fear. It has to do with lack of confidence. It has to do with conforming. So those are the things that you and I work with when we work with people, because it gets them out of that almost like institutionalized thinking. Where people are institutionalized through school and work, and then they get stuck in that thinking. So that it's not their fault per se, because someone has to help them see things from the other side. And entrepreneurs are fortunate because we always saw things different. We've always been the oddballs, because we always look at something and say, gee, there's got to be a different way. There's got to be a better way. And then we were the same way in schools. As you talk to all true entrepreneurs, and they had like this different path in school, because they were always thinking, right? They were always thinking something a little bit different than the lesson, or how the lesson applied. It's like, well, how can I take this and apply it? How can I sell candy at lunchtime? Whatever you're thinking.
Yep. That's so funny, and that's so true. But that's why we're the 3%ers. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean. But yeah, you've been an absolute delight, Richard. Now, if you could give us your contact information one more, and if there's anything else you'd like us to know in closing.
Absolutely. My contact: Facebook, Richard E. Gordon; Instagram, Richard E. Gordon 3. And you can reach me at either one of those, and my phone number's on there as well, so don't hesitate to call me. I answer my phone. I'm old school. I like to talk. I like to hear people's voice when I communicate with them. So text is fine, but the talking as well. And I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate all that you do and all that you do to help promote businesses and help to promote people like me. And you're always a pleasure at every event that I encounter you at. So I thank you for that.
Excellent, and thank you for sharing with us today. And again, listeners, you can listen to Richard E. Gordon, this episode and all other episodes, archived both on WCAP 980's website. Just look up in the right-hand corner. You'll see where it says archive. And also my website, rcsonlinesolutions.com. You've been listening to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ronald Couming of RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients. Stay tuned for our second part, where I'm going to talk to you about how to use Facebook Lives in your marketing, and I'm going to give you an 8-step plan.